Hello! In this video we are gonna color the cafe in Paris called Odette, one of my coloring pages, and I will put the link to the bundle in the description and you will see the colors I will use in this video. Also in the description I will put a link to video where I show you how you can transfer the digital pages onto watercolor paper. If you want to see how the building looks in real life, you can Google the name Odette and I'm sure you will find lots of photos. Okay, so first I am using a peach and dunes mix. I wanted this to be warm and beige color and I think this will work nice. I am using round brush size 11, but use any brush you have or want. And I work on dry paper, but if you like more flowy look in the drawing, then add some clean water to the paper before you start coloring. I will also color a bit outside of the lines because I like more loose look, but it's up to you to stay inside or outside the lines. And I am coloring everything that is lighter on the building. Also the window frames that are white I will color with this color mix. And while the paint is still wet, you can drop the color in some places to make it look more interesting. And this is just the first layer for everything. We will add more color later to make the building look more dimensional. Oh, and here you will see I don't like these harsh edges, so if I put a lot of color in some place and it doesn't bleed, the under layer isn't wet enough, then I just blend it out with clean wet brush. So next I will work with warm gray color. Add it to the roof parts and then later on the two upper roofs I will also add the black color. But I mix the color with water on my palette before adding it so the black isn't too black. And you can let the color do its thing to flow where it wants. It will look very interesting when it dries. And on the pavement, I first will add warm grey and then drop in some peach color in some places and blend it out to make it look more interesting. Also, I will color outside the lines. Next, the green part of the building, I am coloring with green earth and bit of sap green in the mix. The bottom part, I just color everything that is the facade, inside and outside the lines, and on the upper part there will be these red lines, and I don't want the green undertone on them, so I changed to smaller brush, which for me is flat brush size 2 because that's what I have, and I color facade there, but try not to color over the lines, which will be red later. I am adding raw sienna to this little window frame while the green is still wet because I like how it blends together. But if you don't like this look, then wait for the green to dry first. Alright, moving on to the black parts of the facade. So I start with light layer of black, which means a lot of water and bit of paint, because I like to build up the saturation layer by layer. But if you like to color in one layer, then use more paint than water and it will be much darker. So pretty much all I do is color and color. Make sure that the light part of the wall has dried before adding black to that window awning. Otherwise the colors will bleed together. And use the brushes that you feel comfortable using. You will see me using the small brush and then later the bigger brush for bigger parts. And I will also add a bit of warm gray to one part of the roof I forgot, and color in the wall I forgot to color in, and then switch back to black color. Next, I will color all the windows with warm gray, but on the cafe's windows, I will add also the yellow color because I want warm and welcoming look. So you can either first color the outside of the window with warm gray and then add yellow in the middle and blend the colors together with clean wet brush, or start with the yellow and then add warm gray and blend the colors together. For the greenery, if you don't have gouache, then first draw your flowers with like red and yellow, and then add the green around them when they are dried. But if you have gouache, then just add green and you are golden for now. So I am using olive green, and while the paint is still wet, I am adding sap green to one side, which will be more in shadow. In this point, I decided my light source, the sun, will shine from the right side, so the left side will be darker. Moving on to the red color. I am using English red, but you can go with any red you have. And now that the green parts of the facade has dried, I am adding the red details on the window shutters, on that wall with the lines. Also the flower pots I will color with this color. And then the step sign. And with the step sign I will also color outside the lines. I will add a bit of color and then blend with clean wet brush. I am adding raw sienna to the tables and chairs, but just the tops. And then I will color some details inside the window with the colors from the palette. The raw sienna, yellow, red and green. After the details, I will let everything dry, and then I will start adding dimension, more layers, and everything will look more interesting. So finish this and then let your drawing dry. This time, for the second layer of color, I will be working mostly from top to bottom and switching colors while I go. All the colors are as I used before, but because this is the second layer, it will look darker. And on the palette, I just add more paint than water if needed to make the color more saturated. So, first the roof. I am adding more black, and while the paint is wet, you can add more paint in some spots. I will also keep in mind where the sun is and add more color where there would be shadow, so that will be darker. And I will add little shadow in the window, so if the sun is up in the sky on the right side, then the window will cast a shadow from itself to the left side and to the bottom. And on the water pipe, I will also add color where there would be shadow. This will make the flat drawing look dimensional and interesting. This part I am not coloring all black because it is more forward and I want it to look brighter than the roof. So I will just color the shadow from the plant and add some dots and lines here and there to make it look more interesting. For the window awning to look more 3D, I will darken mostly the left side because it would be in the shadow, and then darken a bit top and bottom, but I will try to keep the right side lighter because that's where the sun would shine. And while we are here in this spot, I will add sap green to the greenery, but also more to the left side and the bottom, and I will let the previous layer shine through. And I will darken this little green window thingy with the same green earth and sap green mix. So while I was working on the roof on the right, this roof is already dry, so I will add shadows. So that window will cast a shadow on the roof, and that little chimney, and that part also will cast a shadow. And then I will just add some random lines and dots to add more interest to the roof. And then I will do the same for the roof on the right side. I colored the window awnings and greenery the same as I showed you with that first one, the black and with sap green. And now let's move on to the wall. Using the same peach and dunes mix, I want to darken the outside of the walls and where there would be shadow from the windows. So I add color and then blend with clean wet brush, because for now I don't want any harsh lines. Now the only harsh lines will be in the part, the shadow from the plant, because that is like in the middle of the building and I want the wall bright there, so that shadow will stand out and I won't blend it with clean wet water. And then I will move on more to the bottom of the wall and also I will blend it out, because there I don't want any harsh lines, because no shadows there. For this part of the green facade, I will add color also around the edges and then blend with clean wet brush, so the outside is darker and middle brighter. And then add color to the window shutters. If you can, you leave some of the previous layer shine through, it will look more interesting, but don't worry if you color all over the window shutters. And for that little part of the wall that is like around the window, I will leave a bit of space uncolored, because there would the sun would shine on there and it will look brighter. You will see. And then with warm gray I will add shadows in the window and then let that all dry. For the roof and water pipe, I am adding warm grey and adding more color to the left side of those little lines because they would cast a shadow. Also, I will add sap green to the plant on that upper window because I forgot to do that before, and then add even more warm grey. You can add a little bit of black also where the shadows on the roof would be. While we have the warm grey on the brush, we can draw shadows in this window. So the shadows would be from the window, and also don't forget that little tree would cast a shadow in the window. So add that, and then sap green for the greenery. So first, with the same colors that I used for facade, I will add color inside like the red lines, and for the fence I will add a bit more sap green so it stands out a bit more. And then of course warm grey for the roof, and the same facade green mix for the bottom part of the green facade. And again I will try to darken the outside and keep the middle lighter. And I will add black to the signpost. At the moment I don't want to color in those little thingies on the street and also the chair and table legs. We will do it later. For the black sign I will add color to the sides but keep the middle lighter. So I will add color and blend with clean wet brush. And as for the rest of the black facade and the awning, I will just color over everything. You can keep some parts lighter, some parts darker, but for now I just want to darken everything. Then I want to add dimension to the details inside the window. So with the same colors as I used for them before, I just add one more layer. It will darken everything, keep some first layer showing through. That is what gives the dimension. And for the shadows from the windows, I will also use warm grey as for all the windows. For the chairs, I am adding bit of raw sienna more to the left side and with clean wet brush blending out the color because I want the right side to be a bit lighter because the sun shines there, so it's lighter. When the green facade second layer of color has dried, it's time to add shadows. So everything that is casting a shadow or is in the shadow, like the window shutter on the right side, color over it. And on some lighter parts, I will just add little lines and dots because I think they look cute and interesting. I will also color in the inside of some windows green because that's how they look in photos. I kept these the last because the green would look the darkest and I didn't need to worry about coloring over the window frame before because that gray is lighter than green. And also add shadows from the fence that is in the middle green facades part. I think you will understand everything from what I am doing in the video. So just keep watching. In the black facades part, I will also add more dimension now by just coloring in some lines where there would be shadow from those rectangles on the bottom part. So just color 2 lines of the rectangle like we did with shadows in the windows. I also wanted to darken the awning and the chalkboards on two sides. And just also add little lines and dots here and there because they cute. When everything on the green facade has dried, I will add second layer for the red color. So again, just English red, but the second color, and it will look more saturated. For the pavement, I am adding warm grey to that little part that is like closest to us, and also I will color in the little stones, but not everything, just that part and the stones. And now the last parts to color in is those street thingies, and also the legs of the table and the chairs. So I am using black. If you didn't want black, then you needed to be more careful before, and you couldn't color over them. Yeah, but if you are using black, everything's good. Okay, so last things. Adding a bit more shadow on the lighter wall, added a little bit of black to the dunes and peach mix, and I will just add tiny lines as the shadows there. Then for the shadow from awning, I am using my big flat brush. It will be so easy to get the straight line with that, and I am using a light layer of black here. But if you don't have a big flat brush, don't worry, you can use whatever brush you have. Also, the awning casts a shadow on the green facade, so I will use green in that part. And then adding shadows from the chairs, tables and street poles on the pavement with black, and on the facade with green. So basically, where it's grey, use black, where it's green, use green. The very last thing, with red and yellow gouache, I will dot in some flowers in the greenery, and with white gouache I will add some sparkle on everything, basically the right side of everything, because the sun would shine there and it would like sparkle in the sun. So there I would add white, and then I will add splatters all over the place with the colors from the palette, and then the drawing is finished. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Thank you for watching, and if you decide to buy the pages, I will be super happy. Thank you.